Hi, my name is Jason Spangler. I go by Santee Swapper on eBay. So I'm filming this video for Collections Merit Badge. It turns out that requirement 8, just like many merit badges, asks you to look at what career opportunities there are for someone who's taken this merit badge. And so for collections, oftentimes what happens is people who are teaching it will focus on collecting scouting memorabilia. That's kind of the low-hanging fruit, although certainly you could have a collection in any other topic and earn the merit badge. So it turns out that I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and since 2010 I have been a full-time scouting memorabilia dealer. In other words, what I do for a living is I sell scout patches, and it's a great, fun, exciting, for me, hobby that has turned into a business. It didn't happen overnight. It took a long time. And so what I'd like to do in this quick video is just to go through those 3 points on requirement 8 for Collections Merit Badge: education, training, and experience, to kind of fill in the gaps and tell you my experience as someone who's doing this full time, and then hopefully you can talk to your counselor and get a better idea and also just kind of decide if this is something you'd be interested in. I can tell you that selling online was something that was not a major that I could have taken in college back in the mid-1990s when I was going through college. I got a degree in history instead. But what I found out is that when the invention of the internet and things really got rolling, all of a sudden you could reach out to people all across the country and the world. And so what used to be would have been a very hard thing to do to make selling scouting memorabilia a full-time job became a lot easier with the invention of eBay in the 1990s and then later Facebook, just being able to connect with people. And so let me start off by talking about education. It definitely will require you to have some business education if you're going to try to do this as a full-time business. I mentioned a minute ago that my background was as a history teacher. Actually, I got a history degree and a master's degree later in education. And so I didn't really have any background in business. And that was really kind of a struggle for me in taking this from what was really just a hobby or a side hustle into something that really was a full business where I could have an employee, where I could have this be my main income for my family. So what I would suggest you do if you're interested in this is you need to learn the basics of accounting, marketing. You need to learn about all of the things that a normal business owner would know. I don't think it would require a 4-year business degree. Certainly that wouldn't hurt, but I think that people really in high school could start this as a side business and grow it from there, and that's what my experience was as well. And so as far as education, I would suggest that you go out and look for free courses. Oftentimes your local community college will have free courses for different topics in business. I know in North Carolina where I live, I've taken advantage of that and gone to several that were offered by the Small Business Development Center that's run through our community college program. Some of these were very helpful. I've also joined some meetup groups here in Charlotte. In one of those, I went to a group which was, again, free. There was a person there talking about Shopify and another platform that you could sell on online. Never really heard about Shopify, didn't know what it was about. And from that sprang a whole nother store for me, a whole nother piece of revenue for my business. So you really have to be willing to learn and really spend the time to get yourself educated if you want to try to run an online business. Maybe by the time that you guys and gals are in college, there will be college majors or maybe minors in e-commerce and selling online. But certainly when I was graduating from the University of South Carolina in 1995, that was not a major or a minor for anybody, but the world has changed. So the next thing in the requirement, it talks about training. So this kind of piggybacks right off of education. Really what you're going to need to do here is you're going to need to commit yourself. I'll use the example of scouting memorabilia, but whatever collectible you want to sell online and make it into a business, you really have to commit yourself to learning all you can about that topic. Now, the nice thing about taking your hobby and turning it into a business is that you already have a great interest in it. It's not like if someone told me that I had to go out and purchase artwork or something, and I have little to no interest in learning about artwork or maybe even clothes. I know some people sell clothes online, just not my thing. Sorry about that. But if you have a passion for something and you can sell it online, especially collectibles, then that's really going to help. But again, you have to learn everything you can about that. So the training is really going to be training yourself to do things like selling on eBay, posting on Facebook, how to run a business accepting credit cards and PayPal and all those other things that go with it. And there is a lot of online courses that you can take. Some are free, some are not, in order to get that training that you need. The final thing is experience. This is probably the most important thing when it comes to selling collectibles online, because you have to be able to have the knowledge and experience to be a trusted person. Selling online is really about building up some social trust. And what that means is that people, if someone shops from Amazon or they buy something from Barnes & Noble or whatever big box company, that company has trust built up and people have no problem buying something from them. However, when you're selling online, you have to kind of build that trust and build that experience. And so that's kind of important. So I would encourage you, if you're interested in this at all, you need to get your feet wet. You need to start off, you need to ask questions, attend events. My experience was I went to National Jamboree when I was 16 years old, and that really got my interest going. And then in college, I started going to traderies, which are basically Boy Scout memorabilia swap meets that are held all over the country almost every weekend. And I would go to as many of these in my local area as I could, where there were older collectors there, many of them willing to answer questions and kind of teach me and show me things. And so that was very, very helpful. So you have to kind of get that experience. Start off small, build up your inventory. It is going to take some investment in capital, which is money that's used to build your business, but you can definitely do this. Now, how do you get to the point that someone like me is, and there's probably another dozen people around the country who are doing this full time? Well, then you're going to have a little bit more of a sophisticated strategy for how do you source, how do you get your inventory, and then how do you sell it online, kind of building that brand. One thing I want to point out is I've got a banner back here for the Scout Patch Collectors Facebook group. So Facebook is a tremendous platform for connecting with people, and we've built a community at this group that has about 16 or 17,000 members from all over the world. And in that group, you can buy, sell, trade, ask questions. So if you're on Facebook, or if your parents will let you get on their account and get on there, that would be a great place to kind of learn. But again, as a marketplace, Facebook is a great place to sell items. And I sell a lot of things through Facebook. In fact, yesterday, I had several successful sales in this group. But it's a little bit because I built up that social trust and people know who I am and they know that they can deal with me and be an honest broker. So that is important for you. So experience is important. In our hobby in scouting memorabilia, there are a lot of reference books. I'll just grab this one that I pulled out. This one is helping you identify merit badges. So for example, I've got a couple of merit badges here that will be very recognizable to all of you. This one right here is first aid. But if you're going to sell scouting memorabilia, then you have to learn some of the little details about the memorabilia and the patches. And so, for example, this first aid patch will look different than the one that some of you will have set on your merit badge sash because it doesn't have a silver border. It also has a cloth background instead of a plastic background. So that actually tells me that this merit badge is from an older generation, probably pre-1970, because before then they didn't have those silver borders on the first aid patches. There's another first aid patch. Again, same merit badge, but this one actually came out before World War II. And the reason why I know that is because it has a tan cloth with a crimped edge. And so that whole time period tells me that. Here's another one I just grabbed for an example. This is Public Health Merit Badge. Well, Public Health Merit Badge, this particular patch is from the World War II era. You probably can't tell in the video, but if I hold this up to the light, I can actually see right through this cloth. It's a very thin cloth. Sometimes collectors call it Depression era cloth or sand twill. And that was because of rationing during World War II that they made the patches on this light material cloth. Now, because of that, this patch then is much more valuable than a public health patch, say, pre-World War II, which would have been on this cloth. Again, I know these are little small minutiae details, but I just use that as a really small example that there are reference books out there that will tell you all these things. You just have to kind of do the homework, right, and gain the experience so that you can kind of speak that language and understand what things are worth. So a couple of resources for you. I would invite you to go to my page, scoutpatchcollectors.com. What we did was when we formed this group back in 2012, myself and Brad England, who lives in Oklahoma, I grabbed that URL, and over time I built that up as kind of a resource page and has all the stuff that I'm doing on the internet. So go to scoutpatchcollectors.com. There's a link there to send me an email. We also have a tradery calendar on that website. Again, I mentioned these are these weekend swap meets that are happening all over the country. In fact, I'm hosting one in about 7 days here in Charlotte if you're watching this video. But go to that tradery calendar on scoutpatchcollectors.com. You can find out more there. So in closing, let me just say that as you explore the idea of a career opportunity in selling collectibles online, I would say to you that, I know a lot of adults who wake up and go to a job every day that they really don't enjoy. And I can honestly say, having taken what was a hobby for me and turned it into a full-time business, I honestly do really enjoy every day that I spend here at my warehouse sorting and scanning and listening and, as my wife likes to call it, playing with my patches. I really do enjoy it. So I think there is an opportunity there in this modern era with the internet to make selling collectibles online a real business. I think you would have to do the homework as we've discussed, the education, the training, and gain the experience, but I think it's definitely possible. So again, I invite you to my website, scoutpatchcollectors.com. My name is Jason Spangler. On the website you can find a link to email me and reach out to me. Thanks very much.